I mean, does anyone want to intro?
No, good.
Oh, okay.
You're the voiceover guy.
Okay. Welcome to the second episode of Enter the Nerdom. I'm here with
Stan Morantini.
Watson Bradshaw.
And I'm Chad Cook, and we're here once more to talk to you about everything in the nerddom.
How'd you guys' week go? How'd it go? Did you guys see anything interesting since the last time we met?
I saw a couple things. One, you could think it would have been interesting, but it was plain, like the title, plain.
I see what you're
doing. There.
Yes, there.
Very good.
Starring Gerard Butler.
How was that?
Compared to his other stuff, pretty tame. Well, it was taken more seriously than I thought it was going to be.
Okay.
Because most of his other stuff there's a little more comedy to it and playfulness, but this was like straight. They played it straight, like
a little too straight.
Yeah, that was the problem.
Straight. It was like this could use a little bit of humor, a little something.
Yeah.
Like I like Gerard Butler. I think he knows exactly what his wheelhouse is. He's like, all right, what sad, divorced, or unmarried father can I be in this movie? It's like as soon as like the co-pilot was like, so tell me about your family.
Yeah.
I'm like, here it comes.
Yep.
Is his wife divorced, or is he divorced, or is he
He's going through marital problems.
And yeah.
Mm-hmm.
My wife died. I'm like, I knew it.
Yeah, of course.
I knew it. Thank you.
But one thing about it though was the violence was very brutal. I was like, oh damn, they really leaned into this.
So give us a synopsis on what Plane is. Plane is an airplane, right?
Yeah. Yes. So Gerard Butler is a pilot of a passenger plane, and it's New Year's Eve or New Year's Day, I forget.
It's New Year's Eve. He's trying to get to Hawaii
from Singapore
to see his daughter for midnight, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, with the time change, I could be there.
But the company they work for is like a lesser known airline, like I think it was called Trailblazer. And
117.
They were like, if you want to, there's a storm that they were going to be going through, and they were like, you could cut through the storm and make it in more time. Like, so they were like, all right, let's do that. And
I think they were trying to say it'll save us gas too. It'll save them money.
Yeah,
if you go that route, which is more dangerous, but it'll save you, whatever it was.
Oh yeah, that's what it was. They were trying to save money.
Yeah. So it's like a more direct route.
Yeah.
To the storm.
Yeah.
Okay.
And well, as you can tell, it didn't turn out so well.
Well, and then you forget they have to, and it's a flight of like 10 people.
Yeah.
It's like, really? They're gonna take off? Okay.
Like 14 people total, with including the people who work on the plane.
And
so
then
what happened? They have an accident.
So they're flying and they're hitting some turbulence, and then I guess lightning hit their. You don't see it, but you just see the plane rock.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, well, something.
They could have spent a little money on the effects to be like, let's show the lightning strike instead of it just being like, everyone just jostle about in the cabin.
Yeah. But, oh yeah, I forgot to mention that the other part of the story is Mike Coulter from Luke Cage.
Luke Cage himself.
He is a prisoner that's being transported on the ship.
Oh.
So it's almost like a Passenger 57 type, but not really.
I feel
like
like
a
no
Con
one.
Air
situation?
Yeah,
sort
no one
of.
told him he was in the movie though.
Yeah.
He was just kind of sleepwalking through most of it. Like, I was just like, because this movie could have been more fun, and I feel like a better version of this movie is like Riddick or something. You know, like I mean, like you need that if you're gonna have that bad guy introduced like that, he needs to be there needs to be an air of danger about him. And Mike Coulter was just kind of like, I'm here.
Yeah. And he wasn't, he was obviously a good guy. It was probably a misunderstanding. We didn't really get a look into his story.
Yeah, they didn't really get into it. I was waiting for that too, of I didn't mean to murder that man.
Yeah,
or whatever,
or something like that.
No.
But no, they barely touched on that. And they land on a hostile island, like in the Pacific. And so they're pretty much staying close to the plane, but then Gerard Butler leaves to go to find a phone or some way to contact their company, and he reaches to them, but there's a Die Hard moment where they're like saying, "Hey, we're the flight that's down," and then they're like, "Who? We're getting so many calls here that how Bruce Willis called, and he was like, there are people shoot terrorists here." And he's like, we're gonna call the police on you.
Yeah, well, come the fuck down here and arrest me.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, right, yeah.
So that didn't work, and then he was like, okay, I'll call my daughter. But she was very astute. She just
Well, that was
wrote
the funny thing was like I expected like things to fail.
Yeah.
And nothing really failed.
No,
It's like,
it all
he
kinda
found a
worked.
phone. He found,
Yeah.
he was looking for a phone, found a phone. He, the co-pilot was like, oh, I'm gonna try and fix the plane. He fixed the plane. It's like, oh, okay. So there's no real like problem. It was very like we're gonna get through this. We're gonna speed through this story.
Yeah.
There's not gonna be a lot of things in their way other than an island of, long-haired bad guys.
Yeah.
A lot of
Your
luxurious
typical-
long-haired bad guys.
Yeah, just curly, long hair.
Everyone looked like Fabio.
Yeah. But they did not take kindly to being talked back to.
No, they did not.
Or
They
running.
No, and I was like they were just kind of like played as generic.
Yeah.
Bad
There was no
guys.
like the main villain Datu. He was like the chief of the. That's the name of the chief of the
Yes.
village, and he wasn't really like he was no Hans. Gruber,
That's
or
the thing
anybody.
too. Is like you want like a charismatic bad guy, or
Yeah.
you want like a Gary Oldman in Air Force One or something.
Yeah.
So, from my understanding from the trailer, they crash land and these people take the passengers.
Yeah,
and
they-
Gerard Butler has to go and get them.
Yeah.
Does he any? Was he like former like special forces?
See,
or
that's the thing.
something, or
They do
what?
mention that he was an RAF pilot.
Oh, RAF.
Because
Okay.
like the first thing is, he meets his new co-pilot guy, and he's like, "Oh, where'd you train?" And
Yeah.
Gerard Butler's like, because he goes, "Oh, you're English," and Gerard Butler's very much like, "No, I'm Scottish." and it's nice to actually hear
No.
him do his real
Yeah.
accent too.
Yeah.
He's not trying to do an American accent, which
Yeah.
sometimes can be a little shaky with him.
Right.
So it was nice to hear that. And then he did go, "Oh, I did serve in the RAF for a little bit."
Okay.
But the funny thing though is Mike Coulter did more of the killing.
Yes. Well, they explained that he was a
Legionnaire.
Legionnaire. Yeah, that's right. 'Cause
Yeah.
he basically, there was a murder charge, and he decided to run, so he joined the Foreign Legion
Yeah.
rather than serve in prison. So he's a badass,
Yeah.
basically.
And Gerard Butler, he struggled more in his confrontations with the
Yeah.
enemy. Like he could shoot a guy maybe once or twice, but he tried not to
You
kill
know what?
people. though,
I gotta admit,
which
I
is-
gotta give the movie credit. Like every time he did take out someone, he wasn't happy about it.
No.
There was like real remorse.
Yeah.
And there's, there's some scenes where he's generally shook that he had to like take someone out. He's like, "Oh God, what did I just do?"
Yeah. So
Which I was like, okay, they're playing. Yeah, like you said, they're playing it for real.
yeah.
And
okay.
if what could be a very easy B movie kind of, cheap action movie, they try to go for the emotion.
Oh, also, the Trailblazer company hired actor Tony Goldwyn from Ghost. The bad guy from
That
Ghost.
Yeah.
He is like a PR guy who like hires mercs to go save them.
Right,
to-
yeah, because they realize that the island they're on is deep within. It's in the Philippines, and it's like a lawless island. And they're like, we can't even get the Filipino government to go
Yeah,
there. So they're like, we need to hire these mercs. And usually in movies like this, the mercs are totally like just killed within the first. They always
they're stupid.
like,
or-
oh, here comes the cavalry, and they just get decimated. And no, in this one, they are just murdering a rampage. They just
They find the plane. They find where they're at. They
they execute everything perfectly.
Yeah.
They get in touch back with head HQ, HQ, and they're just like, oh yeah, like we found him. And then they just start blasting everyone with a 50 cal.
that was the best part for me, because when the guys were taking cover behind their just vehicles or
Yes.
pickup trucks and stuff, and then the guy with the 50
Like,
cal
I'm just
sniper
gonna
rifle
shoot right through the
goes-
truck, yo.
and he just blows them back. I was just like, oh
And
my
I
God.
love even the pirates. Like, who are these guys? Why are they doing this to us?
Oh man.
Yeah, no, that was pretty intense. And
So-
I love the. Sorry,
No, go ahead.
I just like. It's just a big spoiler alert, but the plane is the big hero, so of course it gets the title. But the plane kills the bad guy in the end.
Oh yeah,
They throw a plane at him.
They throw.
well,
they-
it's sort of yeah.
Yeah.
And,
Oh.
He's
they play
decided
chicken
he's
with
gonna-
a rocket launcher.
Yeah, he's gonna stand in front of the plane, shoot a rocket at it, and the plane's like, "No, I'm gonna tear your face off."
Gerard's like, you know what? I'm okay with killing now, and then he just puts it in full force and.
And then they hop over to another island. And what I wanted is to do the setup for another plane sequel where they just keep hopping from one dangerous island to another dangerous
That's what I was
island.
thinking.
Oh,
Like,
this one's
it'd be
gonna
like
be
a
like-
quantum leap of planes. They're
Exactly. It's just
yeah.
gonna keep popping over, and the next one would be like Jurassic Park.
I
you
would
know?
call it Plane 2 The Long Layover.
Ah,
There you
boom,
go.
boom, boom.
Boom. But the funny thing, since I got to see it in theaters, I you know how people clap when the plane
Yes.
the plane lands.
Right.
So when it first Lenny had to safely land it from being struck by lightning, I was the only one clapping in the theater. I was like, ah! And then I clapped again the second time and it landed. Just because it worked. It was funny to me.
Sir, can you please stop clapping?
Yeah, no. I'm never that person on a real flight. I never clap. I always assume that we've landed well.
So what do you guys give it? We gave it a B plus.
I mean,
C
for
plus,
it's. I mean,
A minus.
for a January release.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's a solid B.
Yeah.
Okay.
B.
I think it
Okay.
wasn't trying to change anyone's hearts and minds. It was
Yeah.
just like, here's a fun little movie.
Yeah.
And it delivers on that.
Yeah, January has been interesting for releases because we also had another January movie, which was Megan.
Oh, how
So
was
Oh,
that?
right.
have you guys watched that?
No,
yet?
I've been meaning to check it out, but please talk about
have
it.
you?
I haven't either. No.
So, I mean, do you guys care about spoilers?
No. Go
No,
for it.
no,
Yes,
no.
spoilers. So, spoiler alerts for Megan. So it's basically they're taking the Child's Play model, which is like take a dangerous a toy that's supposed to be fun and exciting for a kid, and of course it turns evil. Except that in this, so I never watched it, but apparently in one of the Child's Play movies, he was the latest one. He was like a sentient.
Oh yeah, the
Like
Child's
AI,
Play,
yeah.
not the Chucky.
He was an
verse,
AI,
yeah.
right? Right. So that's what they do for Megan. So the basic story is that this young girl loses her parents in a car accident, and her aunt takes her in, and her aunt works for a toy designer, and of course they're looking for the latest, greatest toy.
Yeah.
And so they have. She has been working. She's also a robotics and engineering expert.
Of course,
With yeah, and so she has been designing basically a small robotic AI for a while to become the ultimate toy for kids, and of course it can move around, and it knows it has its own artificial intelligence.
It looks
so that
creepy as all F.
looks
Yeah.
creepy as fuck,
Yeah, it
right?
Like
does.
I don't know why any designer would look at that and be like, "That's perfect for kids."
For kids, exactly. Yeah,
It's
exactly.
gonna haunt their nightmares.
Yes, and so of course this thing is so she puts it into action with her niece as like a kind of like a beta test, just to see how well it can react to kids. And of course Megan is able to move around. They give her a plastic face or a silicone face, and she's able to move around. She's able to interact with people. She is basically looks somewhat real, from a distance, and they give her that dress has now become kind of iconic, that kind of
that's
beige.
gonna-
Yeah, I've seen
yeah,
it everywhere on.
This
ribbons.
Halloween is going to be everywhere.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
all it's going to be. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And so, anyhow,
Megan's
so
everywhere.
at some point, of course, Megan begins to be overprotective of the niece of this young girl, and she begins to hurt people, even people who don't really present much of a threat to her. So there's a shitty scene in the movie where there's a dog, the next door neighbor's dog, who bites her, and so Megan, it's implied, kills the dog, right? Well, no, she actually says it. Yeah, no, he's buried somewhere. The next door, the neighbor has been kind of like harassing them after that. He's like, "Where's my dog? Where's my dog?" Because the dog was kind of a problem for the main
them.
character. Yeah. So Megan kills her pretty brutally by taking a pressure washer to her face.
Ooh.
Yeah. So it
Nice.
it's pretty much
Now-
fucks her up pretty good.
I heard it was PG-13. Was it
I mean, they definitely cut away at parts like when she's like,
Is it PG-13?
Yeah,
Is
I was
it?
shocked.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was shocked to hear it was
I mean, they don't
PG-13.
show a whole lot of like with the dog. You see the dog just kind of get snatched up. real
Oh,
quick,
okay.
When she's like
all
pressure
implied more
exactly
than-
when she's pressure washing her, you just see like Megan standing there.
It's her
but you don't actually see like the
perspective,
the
right.
But you
face
hear
getting-
the dog. You
You
hear,
hear
the
the
dog.
woman getting
Yeah.
fucked up by the pressure
Oh, okay.
washer.
So it's more what's going on inside your brain.
Exactly,
I
yeah.
see.
So, and of course, Megan eventually turns on them. She becomes violent and begins attacking. She basically thinks that the girl belongs to her because that's the way.
I did read a really good article about it, of how the writers wanted Megan, the robot, to kind of represent our addiction to technology,
Right.
and how this kid, lost her parents, but is
Right.
really getting more and more addicted to Megan.
Right. So there is a good. That's
Does that play?
that makes
through?
sense.
'Cause
Yeah, it does.
I'm
Because
like, that
there's-
sounds interesting.
There was a line in there where they're just getting adjusted to each other. The aunt and the niece characters are getting adjusted to each other, and so The aunt doesn't really, she's a single woman, doesn't have any kids. She has a bunch of like toys on display, like old toys, which are just like they're collectibles, right?
Yeah.
So at one point, like her niece picks something up. She's like, "Oh no, that's actually not a toy; it's a collectible." And she takes.
I don't know what that's all.
Yeah,
about.
right. None of us know what that's about. And so she's like, "Here, just have here's an iPad, and do what you got to do." And so her niece is like, "Well, when do I get off of it? What about screen time?" She's like, "What are you talking about?" She's like, "When do I get off of it?"
Oh,
she's
wow.
like,
Okay.
"Just use it as long as you want. I don't care," because she's busy, right?
Yeah.
And so of course they begin to bond, and then that's when she introduces Megan, and Megan becomes kind of her like surrogate parent. So that's true. That I could see how that does kind of play through.
Like
The
TV
thing-
is my surrogate parent. Yeah.
Right.
It was
I mean,
all our
I
surrogate
think
parents. Yeah, exactly.
There's
Yeah,
a common denominator with all of us.
all of it. Yeah,
kind of raised
exactly.
us.
All us
Yeah.
90s kids. And so Megan, of course, is ridiculously strong because she's a fucking robot.
Why would you ever build a
Yeah.
robot stronger
That's
than you?
incredibly strong.
I want a
Yeah.
robot that I can just breathe on; it'll fall down.
Yeah.
I don't want one that can lift a house.
Yeah,
Well-
I mean, at some point, like the aunt like slams the door on her, and Megan just pushes the door and like
damn.
sends her flying down the hallway.
There's no need.
Well,
there's
does
no need to make it that
the company
strong.
that's making is it alluded that they work on like military stuff?
No,
or-
so that's the thing. So it's strictly a toy company.
we just
Really?
make
But
very
she's been
strong
working
toys.
on this thing. So the toy that in the beginning that the niece has is like this little like, what are those called? The where you could feed them and back in the
Baby
yeah.
Alive or something like that.
Yeah,
something
they're
like
alive.
that. Yeah, where they pee their pants and stuff.
Exactly. Yeah,
That was just you.
Oh, no.
it's not.
That was. I was making it up in my head. It wasn't me. It was,
It
a
was just
doll.
a mirror.
It's just
As I just
Oh, that
peed
was real.
with a blank stare.
But they were, they were like these. God, they weren't called fur babies. They were, you could like feed them and then name them and they would move their eyes and shit like that.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah.
Anyway, so they have kind of an advanced model of this toy company, and so they're trying to make something better than that. So in the laboratory,
Next step, super strength.
exactly, yeah. In her laboratory, she has like Megan's kind of like exoskeleton or endoskeleton like hanging up that they've been working on, and she's like, "I've been trying to introduce this toy," and they're like, "No, you need to come up with a better version than the last toy that we had, which is the not the Tamagotchi thing, the
Right.
whatever."
Yeah.
So
So they
you need to
go-
come up with something better than that, and the main character is like, "Well, no, this is what this will be great," and then so she finds the opportunity to introduce it because of
What's
her,
the price tag
her
on
niece.
Amazing?
Well, exactly. So then they do mention the price tag. I think it's like $1,200 or something like that.
So no kid can
Yeah.
afford it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, only
It's
rich
like
kids.
our
right.
last thing we had out for Christmas was $72.99. Now we're going to $12,000.
Yeah, exactly. So
And it's super strong.
and it's super strong and can tear you apart. And
It's a terrible toy design.
Yeah,
There
very
aren't any
terrible,
toy
yeah.
company that would
Well,
do this.
also then for the AI, like when they develop it, is there a scene where it shows like a malfunction just so it explains why it gets
no,
so
it's
upset?
just that Megan is able. It's not a hit by lightning or something like that.
okay.
It's just that Megan is able to learn at such a rapid rate because of the
I
AI
see.
software.
Yeah.
So that she's able to kind of put together complex. I don't want to say emotions, but complex thoughts. That I have to protect. Her primary mission is to protect.
So
the
she's
girl.
Skynet.
See,
Yeah,
this
she's
is why-
Skynet, basically,
Okay, this
yeah.
is why I love the movie Small Soldiers. I don't know if you
yeah.
Oh
remember
yeah,
this
of
one.
course, yeah.
Because it's pretty much the same premise, kind of, but at least they were like real, like with toy size, and they had toy strength.
Right.
You know, so
True.
you could just kick them. You know.
Yeah, yeah.
Even Chucky, I think you could just punt around.
I remember
Yeah.
that even their weapons were like actual plastic
right.
toys.
Yeah.
Like little pieces. And
Well,
so
but
They were
they'd
still
throw 'em away.
dangerous.
But yeah, they could go in your garage and build like
Right.
a lawnmower that shoots blades at you.
Right.
Like,
Like Megan's
right,
like,
right.
it's like if someone was like, "Hey, I made you a Megatron out of a real gun," and you go, "No, you're not getting the point. I don't need it to be. I don't need a super strong soldier. You know, like robot. I just
Yeah,
want."
so I think so. Of course, they have a sequel coming up because it was so successful, and I'm sure they're going to go with the military component somehow,
yeah.
or her
Well-
software is still. So at the end of the movie,
spoiler alert for.
spoiler.
Well, I think.
yeah.
I mean, I think what they've kind of the problem now is that look is so iconic. That
Right.
dress, like you mentioned. And that look, they gotta have that same look again. The sequel,
they're
right?
definitely going
Like,
to do something like that. Yeah.
like,
so
it'll start off being like a Tamagotchi, and then it's gonna end up wearing a little Megan.
yeah.
outfit
So
or
at the
something.
end of the movie, she's able to download. Of course, they destroy her, but she's able to download into a different like home. Like it's
It's
like
on
a-
the cloud.
It's like yeah, exactly.
She's Brainiac.
Yeah.
yeah.
She's able to download into
Build
a
me a
home
body.
home app thing. Yeah. So we'll see where it goes. But yeah, the thing with the movie was that like everybody was laughing throughout the entire movie.
Oh,
Even
really?
when she's like killing people, people. People were laughing. So I don't know if that was the intended concept. If that's that what they intended to do is have. I know because it's kind of like a horror comedy.
Yeah.
They definitely don't take themselves as seriously as.
Well, the
as
way
you
they've
would
been
think.
advertising, too, and I think maybe this is a, whoever leaned into the advertising of the dance,
Right?
stuff.
Yeah, the
Of
dance.
course,
Yeah.
yes.
Like
TikTok.
it's taken over, yeah. And
Yeah.
like they had the Megan dancers come out at the I think it was the Rams game.
Yes.
Oh,
and
wow.
they had a whole group of creepy Megan dancers come on out for advertising for the movie, and they came out in the middle of the field and they did the little Megan dance.
Yeah.
So I'm like they're leaning heavy.
Well,
into
I mean,
that.
if you think about it, that's the way Chucky went. He went more humorous and more comedic.
Right.
And I guess they're taking tips from that and going,
because once you get past the premise, like once you're like, okay, it's a killer doll.
yeah,
Right.
Like you got to go two ways. You have to go extremely like horrific, or go the other way and go
Yeah.
comedy.
Mhm.
Because the premise itself is like, okay, creepy doll does creepy TikTok dance, and now it's like, what do you go from there? So
Yeah.
I think the next one is either like you have to go full R and just be like insane, or just lean into the comedy of it. Like,
Yeah.
she does a little dance every time she kills
I
someone.
mean, it definitely. I don't know if people. I think people went in there just wanting to have a good time, and that's what it is. It's just a
this
good time.
movie, she
Yeah.
flosses
Yes.
with your guts.
And of course, when she started doing the dance, the entire theater lost it.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah,
I'm
of
sure
course.
there's
yeah.
puffs of smoke hidden. Those people smoking beforehand just to get ready for the movie.
You go to the 4X experience, everyone's dancing along with
Oh
it.
yeah,
Oh,
your
yeah.
seats move as she's
Oh,
dancing.
wow, that'd
yeah,
be
that'd
crazy.
be awesome. Yeah.
or the power washer, the mist will just hit you in the face.
Yeah,
There you go. Yeah. So yeah, it's a fun movie, and it is what it is. But I think even the studio was surprised because January is not supposed to be the good.
It was weird that they dropped that one in January.
Right.
True.
Because I thought that was going to be
I don't
in
think
October.
I don't think they had much faith in it. I think they were just like, it's gonna be stupid, whatever. Just
Well-
throw around January, see what happens, and it became a huge hit.
Was the movie what you expected though? Like when you were going
It
in?
certainly was.
Okay.
It certainly was. I mean, I knew it was going to go evil, and I knew
Yeah.
it was, and it was going to be kind of like when she kills a guy, she does the floss and the dance before that. So as she's chasing him down the hallway, so it was definitely just like a fun movie. Yeah,
Okay.
for sure.
But Blumhouse is very interesting because I think we saw the Black Phone came out around the same time
Right.
last year.
Right.
Yeah.
So I don't know why they're just like, you know what, we're just
And
going to
Scream.
own.
Remember, it's not Blumhouse, but Scream was released in January of
Well,
last year.
I
too.
believe the first of the new trilogy of Halloween was released around January. Like they didn't do it in October the
I
first
believe
time.
so. You're right.
That's
Yeah.
weird.
And then
yeah.
the second one, Halloween Kills, showed up in October. But yeah.
I guess, for most other movies, it's just a dumping ground. And they're like, well, horror actually really does well in
Well,
the beginning of the year for something.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't know how they figure that out. I don't know if
No,
there's some type of method behind that or something.
Because I used to do a now I remember I used to do with a group of friends. We pick a couple movies that are coming out for the season,
Yeah.
and then we see whose grosses the most money, like through
That's just
ticket
nerd
sales and stuff.
betting, right?
Yeah,
there.
no, it's just
Makes
stupid.
sense.
And like I
It's
got
our version of fantasy football.
Yeah,
no one thought
exactly.
Halloween was the remake was gonna get any money, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna pick this one, and it made like so much more than its budget. I was
But
like,
they
damn.
decided to make 2 more sequels.
Yeah.
Yes. That could do a whole podcast. On
No,
that.
and there would be rebuttals.
You liked them?
Well, I love the second one. I'll say that. The third one was surprising, and I get what they were going for. It's not what I wanted, but I get what they were going for.
But
and
you
I was
liked
like, okay.
Halloween Kills, right? Yeah.
I did because you never get to see Mike Myers unleashed like that, and I really liked it.
True.
Because
You
you always see him kill maybe like 1 or 2, and then
Well, even the third one, he doesn't really do a whole lot.
But then
of
I
damage.
hated that he was always obsessed with Laurie Strode, and
Yeah.
I liked that they took that away, and he's just a shark.
Yeah.
He's like, and wherever he roams, he's like, you're
A lot of people didn't like the firefighter scene because they're like, that's not Mike Myers. But that is Mike
Yeah.
Myers because he's like you said, he's completely unleashed.
Yeah.
And he fights these guys hand to hand and fucks them up.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
liked
if
it,
you think about it, in one of the, I think it was like Halloween 4 or 5 from the 80s one when they brought him back, the whole town came together and like shot him and blew him up in a grave and stuff.
Yeah.
And he still came back. So I was like, no, this is exactly what that would be. So I really thought, and the music, I love the music of the new
it's
trilogy.
John
as well.
Carpenter still, right?
Well, and
So-
his kids with him as
Oh,
well.
nice.
So It sounds so good.
Did you hear might have something involved with the Dead Space
Yes,
movie?
and I'm very excited, and I hope that does
I
happen.
hope because I want him to direct one more thing.
Yeah, one. I think that would be his...
And that would be like his sweet spot right there.
Because if he goes practical like he did with The Thing...
Yeah, I still can't believe I haven't had a Dead Space movie. I still can't. It's been so long, you know?
Yeah.
It's a great storyline, too.
It's just like, it'd be just perfect for him.
Yeah.
Because he's such a big video game guy.
I was shocked to hear that, yeah.
Yeah, he loves just sitting around and playing video games and just bitching about it.
I think
online.
he plays Fallout 76 a lot,
Yeah.
which is so fun.
Really?
Yeah.
I hadn't heard of that. Wow.
Which I would love to see his Fallout 76. I mean, like Fallout any year, wherever, too. But Dead Space more over, though.
Oh, yeah.
So
yeah, it would be a good way to leave his legacy, I think. You know?
But what would you give Megan though? Like for
I'd definitely give it a B+ for sure, because it's not it's not a movie that you go in and it's going to make you contemplate your life and where you're going to stay. You know, it's just a fun movie that's just it's like Violent Night. It's although Violent Night has a little more heart to it.
Yeah.
Strangely, it does. Yeah.
And so it's just a fun movie that is just intended to just be entertaining, and it's there's no agenda, there's no bullshit. It's just go in, watch this killer doll, have some fun, and just watch her just mess people up.
Would you go see it again, or would it?
I would.
You
would.
would.
I would. Yeah, because it's just a fun movie. Just I saw Violent Night 3 times already.
Well, no, but that's the thing. Like,
great movie.
Like if you had to choose between Violent Night and Megan, obviously you would go Violent Night
for sure. Yeah, for sure.
But like, would you would buy Violent Night? I would assume.
Oh, I already did. Yeah.
Oh, you did. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
he's got a tattoo on him.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, would you buy Megan though?
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably. Yeah. I mean, I don't.
Is it good enough? If the kill's good enough for a rewatch?
Yeah.
I don't know if the kills are good enough, but certainly her just the entire atmosphere of the movie is definitely worth it. Yeah. Right. I mean, there is a scene in there where she goes after that kid. You saw it in the trailer.
Yeah.
She doesn't technically kill him. He falls into the road and gets hit by a car.
Right.
You know, but she does do the four-legged kind of like bounding after him.
So much. That's such a to me. I'm like every time I see the little four-legged run, it just like, oh god, I hate that. It's like just become a thing now.
And
how do we freak people out? Four-legged run.
Well, if she flipped her legs forward and did like a crab walk after him, that'd be great. That'd be cool.
See, there you go.
And then turn her head upside down.
Ideas for free, Chad.
I know. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So yeah,
but does
it's
Megan,
worth the rewatch.
as a character, as a horror character, does Megan have enough personality and like the way you think of like the Mount Rushmore horror characters, right? It's like Freddy, Chucky, I mean like those, Jason. But like, is Megan gonna be able to? Is she
that's
up
a
there?
Good question. I would say probably not, because she is very robotic in her movements. Even when like the actress that played her is a young girl,
right?
So about the same age as the second
tile girl.
So but she does a very good job, and I think they just CGI'd Megan's face over her. So she does a very good job. Like when she like turns, she does this like very like kind of like robotic. It's like in the army, if you're doing like a left face, right face.
She's RoboCop.
Yeah, she's like very robotic in some of her movements, and she doesn't have much of a personality. She just kind of she's more menacing the way she stares at people.
I guess there's still a way, because like you mentioned RoboCop, like RoboCop or Terminator or even like T-1000 to me is like scary still.
She's definitely more of a T-1000 than anything else, yeah, because she doesn't have very much expression in her face, and she, even when she talks to people, you can, it's more like a program that she's talking.
Okay.
So she's like, you remember the when we got the POV of the Terminator?
Yeah.
Like he's got like a drop down menu of like what to say.
Fuck you, asshole.
Yeah, exactly. It's like that. It's like she's kind of pulling a program, like software to how to speak. But it's still kind of organic, but you can tell it's more of a program. Yeah. So I mean, as far as her personality goes, I don't think she has. It's definitely not on the level of like Freddy. But I mean, Jason doesn't have much of a personality. But she probably might.
Her movements. Since she's an AI, doesn't it become more human? Like, is that the thing?
In a way, but not too much.
Okay,
yeah, not too much. Yeah, she's still very stiff in the way she moves, which I like that, because she was a robot. So she was very kind of like stiff in her movements, and even how she, like when she would interact with the young girl, she would kind of like, it was kind of like a program, like, oh, come here, let me talk to me. How are you doing? That was like you could. I think they did a good job with that, of not making her to be the point where it's like, oh yeah, that's a young girl. And even when other people look at her, there's a point where they go to like
Do
it's
people
like a day
think she's real?
Yeah,
or-
no,
oh.
that's the thing. They day camp like this one lady.
Or
Like
they're like, that's definitely a robot.
she's in the car with the young girl, and she's like, oh, she's to the actual girl. She's like, oh, hi, honey, how you doing? And she looks at Megan. She's like, holy shit! Like, what is that thing? Yeah,
Oh,
so
that's
people
good.
definitely know she's not real.
Yeah.
Good. I
Like,
like
with,
that.
like,
That's
what-
not like
yeah,
trying
me
to
too.
like pull it off like it's Small Wonders or
Yeah.
something.
Right,
Like,
and you could definitely tell. Like again, they CGI the face, but it's definitely if it was like an actual face, you could tell it's not real. Like,
Right.
There's some. It's uncanny valley with
yeah.
like the eyes are too big, and you know,
yeah.
that kind of-
Well, that's
in,
good.
In my head, like I sort of also saw the story going the way of that Megan was jealous of the girl she was assigned to's life. Like she wanted to take over as I want to be you.
Yes.
Like that type of thing. I mean, did that come into play or
not really. So at the end,
Okay.
she
But yeah,
like
the
a
ads
Geppetto, I want to
definitely-
be human type of
Right.
you
yeah.
know,
So at the
Pinocchio.
end, the aunt and Megan are fighting, and Megan's fucking her up. This like like
And the aunt's like, I made this
yeah.
robot too strong.
this girl
Damn
who's
it.
like 6'1" or something like that, and she's like whooping her ass, throwing her around. Megan's like 4 feet tall, And so anyhow, the
Where's the off switch? Damn
the
it.
the niece sees in. She uses like another robot that she has in her garage. The aunt has in her garage. It's
Yeah.
like Fight Megan. It's like an old prototype. It's pretty cool that she, it's pretty. So she kind of beats her up, and then at the end, Megan's like choking the young girl out.
Oh wow.
And it's
Oh.
like, you little bitch, you betrayed me. So
Wow.
she kind of like
Wow.
she kind of gets like this like revenge thing.
Oh, okay.
inside of her, which is her AI, I guess, continuing to
Okay.
learn. Where it's now her main objective is to preserve herself, not the young girl. So,
Okay, that's cool.
yeah,
I like
so,
that.
yeah.
Then. Yeah, that's cool.
So
Yet again, it's one of those things in movies that it's like you make this creature so super strong, but then it's a struggle to kill a human. Like it takes a while to choke someone. It's
Yeah.
like really you would have snapped that neck in like 2 seconds.
exactly, yeah. So, but yeah, it's a fun movie, and I recommend it. Yeah,
Okay.
I
All right.
recommend it. Yeah, it's one of those January just have fun.
No,
movies.
yeah, I like that.
So maybe they're releasing a lot of horror movies in January because the holidays are over and people kind of want to get back into like let's have some bloody fun kind of.
Yeah,
thing.
I mean-
that could be it. That could be what they're.
You want some
figuring out.
sour with your sweet, I guess.
Right.
Yeah. Plus, it's leading into February. The month of love, and people want a little violence before maybe the
Before they go
rom-coms
to
come
see the
out.
rom-com.
Exactly. That could be it.
I don't know.
That could be it. So last night, HBO premiered The Last of Us.
Ah, yes.
You watched it, right?
I did watch it. Yes.
Chad, and Watson, you
I
didn't watch
did
it?
not watch it. No.
Do you? We're not going to spoil it for you.
Well, no, I mean he's
But
played the
I
game.
I played
so-
the games,
Yeah.
and I love the games.
Yeah.
And so when I remember HBO announcing this, and I was a little like, I
Yeah,
don't know,
me
like
too.
it's one of those things of like whenever I see like a game get adapted, there's
Yeah.
always that like, okay, you don't hurt the thing I love,
Yeah.
like don't tread on
I
that, like,
understand. Yep.
and like especially
100%.
like the Uncharted movie, which was a horrible movie.
Yeah.
Yes,
It was a
was.
disaster. And it's just like the point that like I have so much fun playing those games and living
Yeah.
through those games. And Last of Us is one of those. It's so beautiful and it is like a beautiful piece of cinema.
Right.
The game itself, it's
Yeah,
gorgeous.
it's a great story, too.
intense, and I don't know if they can replicate that as a TV show.
Right.
True.
But you're gonna tell me that they did?
So, I mean, I don't know how the rest of the series is going to go. I don't know because I know a lot of people were giving it shit because they cast Pedro Pascal and what's her name from Game of Thrones.
I forget her name, but she was the small
Mormont,
queen.
right? She was-
yeah,
yeah. So
Mormont.
people were saying that they don't fit exactly how
Well, that's
the Ellie
the
and,
thing,
and Joel are
too.
perceived, right?
Oh, now personality wise, like in the show, they're not that way, or is it just people are mad because they're
No,
not?
when the trailer first came out, people were like, "Well, I don't see Pedro Pascal as Joel." That's what people were saying, and I kind of get what they're saying. I love Pedro Pascal; I think he's good in everything he's in. So I was like, "Well, I'm going to give him a shot because he's great in everything he's
How
in."
is he in this?
So perfect. He's
Really?
Pedro Pascal. He's awesome.
He's
So
Pedro
and I could
Pascal.
see what they were kind of saying about what's her name with Ellie, although I think she felt a little more along those lines. So I think like when I first saw the trailer, my own bias, right? When I first saw the trailer, I was like, Pedro Pascal, okay,
Right.
yeah, I love him, but okay. I mean, I could see like Henry Cavill as Joel,
Right.
You know,
I
or
saw a
like,
lot of people taking the poster from Logan, and
Yes.
it's like Logan and the little girl.
yes,
And
yes.
they're like, that's Last of Us
Exactly,
right there.
mean,
exactly.
true.
Or
the
Friend.
Oh,
go ahead.
I was just gonna go the road with
Viggo Mortensen.
Viggo
yeah.
Mortensen.
Viggo's a
Yeah.
big- yeah.
I could see Frank Griffo as Joel.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
Yes,
I could
that would
see
have been great for
that would
him.
have been
actually.
Yeah.
really good.
Yeah.
I could see maybe John Barenthal.
Yeah.
So but I was like, but okay. I mean, Pedro Pascal, he's an amazing actor, so I think. He
gives it his all.
He definitely, he's amazing. So like the first, I don't know if you agree with me on this, chat, but I think the first like half hour of the first episode, is some of the greatest TV I've ever seen. It was amazing, especially when the world starts to fall apart.
Well,
oh wow! Holy
now
shit.
to go into that, and you'll know this because it's the exact opening from the game.
The game,
Yeah.
They're
they
very
do it-
loyal to the game.
Wow.
Yeah, but they do give you maybe like a little bit earlier in the day before
They try to
the
fill
night.
in more of the gaps about the world.
Yeah,
what
it's-
his daughter was actually doing
Right.
before, like with the watch and all that stuff. So you see that lead up to that, and then it follows through with the beginning
and
of
just
the
like
game.
any great like apocalyptic kind of like storyline, there's little hints in the background that something is not going right.
Yeah.
There's constant police sirens, there's news reports.
Right.
Of, like,
Yeah.
Oh, I
we're
love
getting
that.
reports of rioting,
and
whatever,
they actually give you a reason why Joel disappears at night when she wakes up to find him. Like, Dad, where are you? Where you know?
Yeah.
So which is pretty cool because his brother's played by Gabriel Luna,
right.
Oh,
and he
wow.
does a great job as well. But yeah, no,
Great casting.
it does.
Yeah.
It works so
Yeah.
well.
It works, yeah.
And the I guess it's CG for the way that destroyed like cities and buildings. It looks amazing.
Looks great.
Yeah.
It looks straight out of the game. And of course, so there is that that part where the plane falls.
Oh
Right.
yeah.
And so they're in town. So as the world begins to fall, the rest of the first like 10, 15 minutes of the show is like they're kind of going about their day, and you see the relationship he has with his daughter. And of course, they're very close. He's a single father apparently, and then
Gerard Butler was like, I should have had that wrong.
I should have.
Oh, yeah, you know.
yeah, Gerard Butler would have been great
Because
yeah.
he does a decent American accent
Yeah.
now. So
And so as the world begins to fall apart, and then it kind of happens like very suddenly. All of a sudden, she goes to her next door neighbor, and then you see that they've turned into what are they infected?
yeah, they're
Yeah,
no one's transformed into the clickers yet, but yeah.
Oh,
yeah, no clickers
man.
yet.
Yeah.
No clickers yet.
I can't wait.
Yeah. We're definitely gonna get those.
Oh yeah.
And then all of a sudden, her father shows up, and they're like, "We got to go. Like, let's go." He's been gone for hours.
Yeah.
He has to go. He has to go bail his brother out of jail. And so he comes back, and it's been hours that he's been gone. And then he just shows up, and I knew it was gonna happen. Like, he's immediately gonna show up. Like, we got to go. Let's get the hell out of here. So he shows up, and then there's a pretty brutal scene with the neighbors, and yeah, it's as they're trying to run.
They also sell the daughter to you very well. Like if you
Yeah.
never played the game,
Yeah.
you would think she would be the protagonist.
Yes.
Oh,
So
interesting.
you really feel that when
That's
you're like,
really
yeah.
interesting
Yeah.
because
And
I'm sure there's a lot of people watching this that have never played the game.
yeah.
Or who's like, oh, I like Pedro Pascal, and I'll
Yeah.
watch this. And yeah, that's an interesting kick. Like, I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
Like, they're gonna bond with this character,
Mhm.
not really knowing what's gonna happen.
And then the actress they got is great.
Yeah, she did a
She's
wonderful
great.
that's
job.
awesome.
And they have really good chemistry, her and Pedro Pascal.
Yeah.
Like you believe their father and father and daughter.
You could tell when you meet Ellie later, they're very opposite personalities.
Yeah.
So it works. The dynamic works. you know.
right.
So as they're trying to get out of the city, of course everything's clogged up because now everybody realizes there's something going on.
Yeah.
And then that's when they run into the military. And so one of the great things I love about it was very Walking Dead-esque, where in the first season of The Walking Dead, they had the military go into the hospital. They had orders to go into the
Right.
hospital and just kill everybody that's in there
Yeah.
because they had no idea what was going
Contain
on
the
to
infection,
contain the
yeah.
infection, right? And if it's kind of like pouring out of the hospitals.
Right.
So there's a scene where the military goes in there and is just literally lining up like patients and doctors and nurses against the
Yeah.
wall and just shooting them because they don't know how to.
Right.
They don't know how to.
Yeah.
And then they see that Atlanta is being napalmed by the Air Force, right?
Yeah.
To
Yeah.
try and contain the effect. So one of the things I love about shows is when they do stuff like that. So obviously you guys know I was in the military for a long time, and so I love it when shows like Walking Dead and now The Last of Us, where he runs into a soldier who's given orders to kill them,
Yeah.
to kill him and his daughter, and he opens fire and kills his daughter.
Yeah.
I love shows and movies that don't portray the military as being like this angelic force that is
Right,
like
right.
perfect, because it's not. It's made up of normal people who
Yeah.
are trained, but
They have an
in
order.
situations like that, it's sad to say, but the military most likely would do something like that because it would get to the point where they don't know how to contain it. So they're just like, well, just go in there and just kill everybody that's in there.
Right.
And then young soldiers.
To save millions, you got to
right, 18, 19-year-old soldiers are going to be like, oh, okay,
right.
because they don't know.
Oh, no, I just wanted to, from that, and since you were in the military, I wanted to ask, how would you go, like, if you were that one soldier that came across those two, would you say you did it and let them go? Like, how would you go about that?
Yeah,
like,
so, I mean, as me personally, I know I would let them go because...
How would you like to be court-martialed?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But I've always had a very, like, even before I joined the military, I've had a pretty good understanding of, like, war crimes. Like, we had this... I knew about, like, the My Lai massacre, which the Army carried out in Vietnam in the 1960s, where they just... This one platoon just went crazy and started shooting up a village and killed a bunch of innocent civilians, right? So I knew about that. So I had a very good understanding of like morality, I guess, and things. So when I joined the military, and luckily I was never tested while I was in Iraq and Afghanistan, to the point where it's like I was never given a legal order, and you're given in the military, you're given instructions on following illegal orders, which you're not supposed to do.
Yeah.
Like you understand that you're not supposed to kill civilians. You're not supposed to kill prisoners who have surrendered. You are briefed on that, and you are given the understanding that if you do follow an illegal order, like which that was, which other civilians, we got to kill them, or go into that hospital and we got to contain the infections. You got to kill all those people because we don't know how else to contain the spread. You are obligated legally and morally to disobey that order, right? So, but the problem is that in tense situations like that, where the blood is pumping, everything's falling apart. You're terrified.
True.
And now you have, again, like I was saying before, these young, impressionable teens, who are
the one source of authority you have is telling you to do it.
Right. And the probably the oldest person you're going to have there who's in charge, who's a sergeant, is probably going to be still in his early 20s, 23, 24. Damn. They're going to be like, and of course they're all pumped up and, scared and their adrenaline's pumping. Okay, yeah, let's do it, right?
Yeah.
So I know that me personally, I know I wouldn't follow that kind of order. But again, it's easy for me to say that sitting here, whereas like if we were in my platoon and we had been given that order and we know what's going on, that the dead are rising or that these people are infected and attacking other people, it's easy for me to say that sitting here, but as within my platoon where it's like, okay, we can be given an order and everybody's doing it, it's always hard to go against the grain and be like, well, no, my moral justification says.
Right. Yeah.
So I'd like to think that, no, I wouldn't.
I saw Hacksaw Ridge. I know what to do.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. So, I understand where things could go so badly that soldiers would be like, okay, execute that person because we don't know if they're sick. And they're probably going to follow that order, By myself, me like that one guy was in the show. The guy.
You want to say you would be the good guy.
I want to say I'd be the good guy, and I think
you don't know until you're in that position.
Right. And I think if I was by myself, I'd probably be like, I'm not following that order, or
Chad would be mowing down people. Left
Chad would be just like,
just
who cares?
I'm like, let me see your arms. let me see your legs, your arms. Okay.
No bites. Risk it.
There's like people in the distance. You
Bullets are cheap.
Or I'd be like, give me your money and then I'll let you go.
The world is falling apart. Wow. Or you're just like shooting at just people in the distance. Like, Chad, we don't know whether they're infected or not. Oh, they could be.
I'm saving people right now. Would you want to turn into one of those? No.
So yeah, I'm glad that they portray the military like that because it shows that there's good and evil and there's grays to everything.
Yeah.
It's not everything is black and white. And the military certainly is not infallible.
Yeah. There's a question for you. Would you want to try to survive and live in a world like that? Like in a world where there's infect. Like I think about The Walking Dead, and one of the beautiful things about that show is like they're all infected. Like everyone's infected. Right. You're gonna turn into a walker at some point, right?
That's true.
Like, would you like try to keep normalcy and continue living, or like I've heard a lot of people, like people I know, gone like, nah, I would just off myself because like, what's the point?
I've heard,
So I mean, like The Last of Us, it's way more, intense.
And the city they live in, which is a walled off section of Boston, looks pretty miserable to live in.
Right.
True.
It's pretty miserable. I mean, everything. One of the things I love about the show is everything looks all fucked up and old. Like the weapons they carry, the soldiers who are like the soldiers of this community.
Yeah.
Which is like, what's it called? Federal. It's not FEMA. It's FEDA or something like that.
I forget the name. I just remember Fireflies. I'm forgetting the others.
So they have an army, this agency, right? but their gear looks worn and like about to fall, and it's being like held together by duct tape.
Some of them are probably not even real soldiers.
Right,
like
exactly. They're just
were
kinda,
just like, I'll take up. Yeah,
their weapons
they went to an army surplus store one day and picked up.
Yeah, exactly. Their weapons are like worn down, and everything looks.
Oh, that's
rough.
Awesome!
Yeah, everything looks rough.
I love that that little authenticity too.
Exactly.
To it,
although, like, even though the city doesn't look amazing, it gives you some sort of security mentally. Like, you're like, I'm safe here. I'll live out the rest of my day. It'll suck. It's not going to be great, but I will live out the rest of my days. Maybe just die in my sleep and not be attacked by a clicker or by some weird crazy guy out in the world. So. I mean,
you'd hope, right?
Yeah.
So I'd probably prefer I died in the first thing, or I would live in that town. I would maybe I'd be one of the guards. I'd be like, just like, okay, you got your cards,
okay,
yeah. And that's what I do for
in
the
rest. Show. Apparently, people make a living through just manual labor. So Joel in the beginning is just burning bodies. They're just dumping these bodies in this huge funeral pyre, and they're just like, So it's just, and they're just. So and they line up and they get it's not money it's money it's like credits
it's
like
credits,
a ration card or something like that
yeah.
And that's how they live and then so it's everything looks
tokens
everything looks really
bottle caps
imagine that bottle caps everything looks worn down and rough and so that's a good question like I don't know if you want to I suppose like every day would be like March of 2020, you know.
Right. Yeah.
So
no, that's
like,
true.
That
is true.
Pretty shitty, and we don't know when this is going to end. Apparently it's not going to end. This is life from now on.
Yeah.
You know, like that's what we thought in 2020. March,
that's true.
You know?
That's true.
So I don't know. That's a good question. I would think I would want to just continue to keep going. Maybe there's a cure at some point and things kind of return to normal. But
this is getting all too real.
All too real. Yeah. But they do mention that outside of that Boston quarantine zone, they call it.
Yeah.
There are raiders, and they call them slavers, the people who are actually taking people like. Yeah. Which is in that we were talking about the road earlier. That's mentioned in the road too. That there's people who are taking like they're slaves. They turn people into slaves. You know. So unfortunately, that's something that probably would happen if that really happened to our society where we broke down that quickly, as there would be people taking advantage of others like that immediately, of course, you know.
Although I would love to, I know it probably would have infected the whole world, but like, would you gamble by going across the Atlantic or across the Pacific to just see? Yeah, maybe there might be a better situation.
Well, they have that radio man in the show, so he probably understands that it's worldwide. Yeah, you know? And generally when you have these kind of movies and TV shows, video games, it's worldwide. Like the Walking Dead is worldwide, and so, But then the other thing is like, how do you get across the Atlantic? Do you know how to sail?
That's true.
You know, so
or I think you could hijack whatever boat now. Like it's free reign for.
Well, yeah, but I mean that's what I'm saying. You still have
to. How to use
you know how to use it? Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean,
and you don't have. Where are you gonna get the fuel?
How would you navigate?
That is true. That is true.
Yeah, and if you don't know how to, if you're just gonna do straight sailing.
You know what? That's what I would be. I would be a
with that
ferryman
GPS, you know,
across the Atlantic.
Yeah, exactly. But you are, it's a big risk, right?
It's a huge risk. Yeah,
like,
you don't have maps anymore. There's no GPS. It's just it's literally guiding by the stars.
Yeah,
and I'd rather be ancestors. I'd rather be killed by a clicker than drown in the middle of the ocean.
Well, exactly. Yeah, exactly. So it looks like next week, the next episode, we might finally get them going outside. Well, they're already outside of the quarantine zone, but they're going to be moving across. She's trying to get to. I think I missed where they're actually trying to get her to.
They're trying to bring her to the lab. I forget the name of the lab, but they're on their journey. They're on their way.
Okay.
And Ellie's immune, basically, right?
Yeah. They just found out she was bit from this the last scene.
And that was a great. So. I don't remember if this was in the game. I don't think it was, but the opening scene. So they cut to from where Joel's daughter was killed at the beginning of the plague to 20 years later, right? Mm-hmm. And so you see this kid who's 8, 9 years old, kind of wandering through like the wasteland, and he finally gets to the quarantine zone. And he's like, wow, this show is holy shit. He gets to the front gate of the quarantine zone, and they're like, "Oh, hey kid, how's it going? How are you, buddy? You okay? You need some food?" And they of course are testing him to see if he's infected. Right. And you see that screen turn red.
Yeah.
And there's a lady just talking to him, like very motherly figure, like, "How are you? You know, don't worry about it. We're gonna get you toys. We're gonna get you food. Don't worry." And this guy comes up with a syringe behind him, and starts injecting him. He's like, "Oh, don't worry, it's just a little shot." Don't. And then next thing you see is Joel throwing the kid's body into the fire.
Yeah.
It's fucking brutal,
brutal.
dude.
Yeah.
It's brutal. So, but I was like, "Oh wow!" I was like, "This is where they're going with this." Huh? I was like, "Wow!" It's like Walking Dead again.
Yeah.
Early Walking Dead.
I think
Like,
I
wow.
think this will probably be even more so darker than Walking Dead, only because of it's a little bit more real than Walking Dead. You know,
Right.
Well, and
It
being
does-
on
yeah.
HBO, they have a lot less restrictions. than
Yeah.
Right,
AMC,
exactly.
and I thought, Walking Dead got away with a lot of stuff.
No, they
for being
did,
on
they
basic
did.
Cable.
Sure. So this is a little more real because I don't think that in Walking Dead, the entire government, everything falls apart quickly. Now it's just bands of survivors.
Yeah.
Where I think this is a little more realistic. There would be a government set up.
Someone would
somewhere.
try to. Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be like a foot toeholds of the government everywhere.
Right.
So, but yeah, with Walking Dead, it just spread too quickly, and the zombies were very slow moving.
Right.
So it seems like how could they kind of overwhelm anything unless there's massive numbers. But with this, it does seem a little more realistic.
Yeah.
Do you see the hordes of zombies in this, or is
Not
it, yet?
not yet. Not yet.
Well, no,
there are
in the-
there are like people chasing.
Yeah, in the beginning, the
Yeah.
ones who are infected, they're running and attacking people
attacking,
as they're
yeah.
driving through, which that sequence is amazing.
It's
Film
it's so good
from the
It's so
car.
good. I'm gonna watch it again after
Yeah.
this. Yeah, it's so good.
But
we can watch it after.
Oh, yeah.
I might do that.
Oh.
Yeah, because there's always like there's two, like you can do the slow zombies or go fast. I think that
I've never
the
liked
worst
fast
version
zombies.
of
I
that
hate
I
fast
think was,
zombies.
have you ever watched World War Z?
Yes, it's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Yeah, when they
It's
do
ridiculous.
like the zombies piling each other to get over
Yeah,
the wall
yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
I'm like, that seems a little
It's
far
ridiculous.
fetched.
Yeah, that
but-
whole movie was ridiculous.
yeah. So I think that's like the other side of it, where it's just
I don't like fast moving
really bad.
zombies. 'Cause I don't like when somebody dies and turns into Usain Bolt when they come back. Like, no,
well,
that's-
see,
come on.
with this one, I think it's more. It takes more of the Resident Evil route because they are mutated people,
Right. Yeah.
right.
and so they might they're kind of clickery, like click,
Right, yeah, yeah.
obviously. But then when they see you, they'll charge you real fast.
Yeah.
But I like that because they're not your typical zombie. Like I didn't
Do
even
they
know
call
they
them zombies on the show?
no
They call them
no.
infected. So far.
Infected, yeah, that's
Yeah,
all.
because like same with like Walking Dead, they never use the Z
Yeah.
word, right?
Right.
It's
Which is
walkers.
it always
Walkers, yeah.
makes me mad
Rotters.
because I'm like, if you live in the real world, there are movies with zombies in them,
Right, yeah,
So
yeah.
you would be able to use the word zombie on a real life.
True.
So that's what I just hate when a game or when a show or movie is like, oh, we're not going to use the Z word because
in
they're
this
not.
world they didn't know about it. Or
Yeah.
I'm like, it's a fucking zombie. He's eating that guy's spleen out of his gut. So yeah, but these I didn't even know they ate people in The Last of Us. I
No,
thought
me
they,
either. I didn't think.
I thought they were
like,
just
bit 'em.
bit them and
Yeah.
kill them and stuff.
Right.
But this one, it seems like because the old lady
It did seem like she was
eating her like
Yum,
family
yum,
or
yum.
something.
Yeah.
So
Or she was maybe just biting her to get because she had the spores coming out.
oh,
of
that
her
might
mouth
that
or
might be
whatever
it.
it was.
That might be
infect.
Yeah.
that might be it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it looked like she was eating. So
It did,
maybe
it
I
did look like it.
Yeah.
Because the one guy definitely had like a bite to his neck.
Yeah.
Or
yeah.
something. So maybe they're just biting him to get the spores in or whatever.
But and I
Looks like we need to do a rewatch.
that's true.
Yes.
And I love a mutation because you get variety. There's not
Yes.
always the same
Yes.
looking thing, like
Yeah. Yeah.
So I do love that, and maybe even more strong, like strength wise, they come stronger,
Well, that's-
boss
yeah.
level.
Uh-huh.
zombies.
That's
Right.
The game is
Yeah.
a lot of
Yeah.
the variety of the dead and of the infected
Yeah.
is great. I love it. I love it so much. So yeah, I'm excied to see more.
It's
of
good. I mean, I don't. We haven't seen a ton of chemistry between
Right.
Pedro Pascal
It's
and
early days.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, we still got a lot more show to go. So
Do we know how many episodes there are this season?
I want to say there's 6. I think they
So
said
it's like a
4 or
miniseries
6.
more
Something
than-
like
6.
that.
I thought it was gonna be 8, maybe.
Maybe
but
you're probably right.
I
You're
could be
probably
wrong
right.
because if they
Yeah.
are all an hour and a half, then
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I
mean-
mean that's a lot.
It's a lot, yeah.
that's a
So
lot.
we still got a lot more to go. So
Yeah.
so far, Ellie is very very tough, and she I like it. So it's going well. But what I like is that
Well, I love that actress. Like,
Yeah,
from
she's
Game of-
great.
When
She's
she was
great,
on
yeah.
Game of Thrones, I was
She's great.
like, give her everything.
Yeah.
She's amazing. Yeah,
I think
so-
what we're lacking in TV and movies lately, with especially within like 5-6 years, is we're lacking a lot of like male mentors, specifically to like young girls and young women.
Right.
It's kind of something that's kind of gone away. whereas that was a big part of The Last of Us. And so it definitely seems like this is, hopefully that's where they're going, where it's like because I mean, she's 14, like, come on, and he's a grown man, so it's like there's no way she's stronger and faster than him. So it does seem that they're going back that route. There's a part where she comes at him with a knife, and he just like slaps her aside, just bam, and she goes flying to the wall. You know?
I will say they did show her smarts compared to him, because she was able to decode their radio
signal. Yeah, they have a radio signal
system
going on. Yeah, so she's definitely smart. She definitely knows how to handle herself.
That's cool.
I like the Fireflies. They were really interesting. How they're kind of waging this war against the military dictatorship that I think it's called FETA has turned into.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting concept, but it seems like they've been fighting for, like they said, 20 years since the infection spread. So it's like, well, yeah, I don't know how effective you guys are. And they even say that in the show, which I like. It's just like, I don't know. It doesn't seem like we're doing anything.
Well, I mean,
we've been fighting them for 20 years, and we're still losing.
Well, they call the Fireflies terrorists, at least more so in the game than in the.
Yeah,
I don't know how much they said it in the show. I forget.
They did say it, and I do like how the Fireflies are offended when they say terrorists, basically how dare you,
right?
So it's two perspectives that you get to see, and I look forward to more. So we'll be able to keep talking about this as each week goes.
Well, they do. I mean, I don't know if you guys are caught up with the Bad Batch.
I'm not.
Oh no, I
gotta watch the second.
This new season 2 of Bad Batch has been great because it is about the early days of the Empire.
Oh, really?
And how, now so it's like, I don't know if you guys have seen any of it, but it's about how they're slowly replacing the clone troopers with regular soldiers now, and how they're dealing with these planets on the outer rim, these separatist planets. Now they're calling them these insurgents are on this planet, we gotta take care of it. It's like, no, they're the indigenous species,
right?
But you're coming in as the Empire going oh no, we're bringing law and order. It's very interesting and very it's very
that
cool.
Is interesting.
Colonization.
That is interesting.
It really is.
That is interesting because what we call the enemy in Iraq? Insurgents.
What?
Insurgents. Yeah.
Where did they get that?
Yep.
No. But no, it's really an amazing show to watch. Yeah, and it's
which
fun
we never
to
got.
see.
Yeah.
It's fun to see these the start of the Empire, and just how Dave Filoni is so, I think, brilliant of the way he made you really I didn't care much about the Clone Wars cartoon, and what do I care? A bunch of clones. Then he gives you distinct personalities to these clones, right? He's gives them names like Cody and everything like that.
Yeah.
Now this show is stripping that away. So now the Imperial officers, this last episode had Cody in there, and one of the officers, they're like, oh, get Cody up here, and the officer's like, who? And they're like, oh, CC 10229 or whatever, and they're like, oh, okay, I know that number, I don't know his name.
Wow,
it's so interesting, and just you're seeing the clones slowly getting replaced. You look out, and there would be, where there would be a sea of clone troopers, now they're getting replaced with regular officers and regular, TT officers, and it's really cool.
I got to check it out. I've been meaning to check it out.
It's very much that, and Andor has been, top notch stuff.
Andor.
And yeah, exactly. I know it's a fine wine of a show.
Yeah. Oh, it's so good.
But
so
good.
Good.
Definitely check out Bad Batch.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I'm it's on my list. It's on my list.
I wish we got that more in the movie Solo, the beginning of the Empire.
Right. Yes, that's what I was hoping we would see.
That or at really least bugged me. Yeah. His because I don't know. Most people know that Han Solo was an Imperial, was a pilot for the Empire. And they kind of just strike that off the record. He's in the Empire for a whole one scene.
Yeah, I know.
And then he's like, I'm out of here.
Yeah, he's in the army.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, but his dream was to be a pilot.
Right.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of problems with Solo. A lot of problems with Solo. That be a whole podcast itself, yeah.
The Ant-Man trailer, the new Ant-Man trailer came out.
Yes.
What do you guys think?
The first Ant-Man trailer they showed, I was like, it's all right, whatever. But then this next one, I was pulled in. I was like, okay, I'm sold. Your Kang looks awesome. And they should briefly show you MODOK, and I was like, all right, I really want MODOK to work.
Me at MODOK.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want MODOK to work too. Yeah.
But It looks like it's just a robot face, and I was like, I kind of wanted it to be a face, but
Right.
I know that would probably look more like what's it called? People were saying Spy Kids
Yeah.
3, and I was like,
Yeah.
I guess you probably don't want to do that, but maybe
I think
it's
you do.
No,
I think you do.
yeah.
I think it'd be interesting.
I wonder who they got to voice him.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious, so that should be interesting. But for the plot, what do you guys think is going to be happening? Like,
Well, it looks like, and I just rewatched Ant-Man and Ant-Man and the Wasp again because I'm a nerd, so I got it.
Of course.
But it was
we
just
are in the
like-
nerddom, so
I was like, I'll throw Ant-Man on in the background, and I forgot how good of a heist movie that is.
Yes.
Like the first one is a real
first
good
one?
heist movie.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh yeah, and I forget like that's Scott Lang's whole thing is he's a thief.
Right.
He's not your typical like do-gooder.
yeah,
The sequels are not great, but so I kind of feel like they're going to go back to kind of that vibe of like it looks like Kang is hiring Ant-Man to do
that's what I got.
some kind of quantum crime,
Yeah,
and it looks like the quantum energy. It looks like they're kind of linking all of Kang's technology to what we saw in Miss Marvel and Shang-Chi and the Ten Rings.
Oh, okay.
Like if you look at like Shang-Chi's bands, like the Ten Rings all have that blue quantum energy.
Oh, you're right.
And same with Miss Marvel's bracelet.
Yeah,
It kind of has the same energy look.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm wondering if that somehow is because, we all kind of know that, 5 years down the line, we're going to have Kang be the big bad.
yeah.
They're kind of trying to set him up. So I'm wondering if this movie, does Kang win? Does Ant-Man die?
Well,
I don't know.
The way, like one of the last shots of that trailer where Scott Lang was just like, I don't have to win. We both can lose though, or something like that.
Yeah.
And so I think maybe he'll sacrifice himself to keep Kang in the
For a
quantum
little longer, yeah.
because
Yeah.
he obviously wants him to steal something so he could leave the
Yes.
quantum realm.
Yeah, he's like locked in there.
Yeah.
And maybe it has to do with Janet. Maybe Janet Van
Possibly,
Dyne
yeah.
is the one that kept him there.
Yeah. Which should be interesting.
Yeah.
But still, I also heard this somewhere or I read it somewhere. I forget. Someone was saying Scott Lang was the constant because he was in the quantum realm when the snap happened.
Yes. Yeah.
So he could be, how Kang came for Captain America because he wasn't supposed to be there.
Right,
so
right.
maybe that could be some sort of Scott Lang type of things. Like you shouldn't be here either. Or
Right,
I don't know,
yeah.
something like that. But
you were supposed to be snapped away
Yeah.
as well, but you didn't. Yeah.
are you pretty excited for it, or are you?
I
Just
am.
in the middle.
I'm.
Right.
I've been getting burned out with Marvel.
No,
for a
same
while.
here. This past phase, I was like, eh.
Love and Thunder. I was like, I don't know what the fuck that was, and so I was just very disappointed in what the end product ended up being.
Yeah.
So when they announced this, I was like, maybe I'll go see it. Like
Yeah,
depending on
right.
what people are saying about it and how well they come out of the theater feeling. If it's
Yeah.
just like it's just your typical, just kind of like latest Marvel movie where it's just joke, fighty, joke.
Yeah.
I'll probably just wait until it comes out on Disney Plus. But I mean, I've been hearing decent things about it. You guys seem excited about it, so yeah, I probably will check it out. But I was at that point where it's like, if I miss it, I miss it. No big
No,
deal.
I
I'll
get
just watch it when it comes out on Disney Plus.
I
Like
get
with
that.
Eternals, that's how it was. I was like, I'm not watching that.
Yeah.
I'm like, it doesn't.
Have you seen it
just-
yet?
Nope. Yeah, it's on Disney Plus too, and I'm just like,
It's just
whatever.
sitting
yeah.
there waiting for you.
Exactly. Yeah. So it didn't interest me in the slightest, and I
Right.
still haven't watched it. So, and yeah, like you said, the last Ant-Man movie was the sequel. It was just it was all right.
And I'm a bit of a snob when it comes to. I love Edgar Wright movies, and knowing that Edgar Wright worked really hard on the
Yeah.
first movie and left
Right.
like right before principal photography, and there's a lot of sequences in that movie where I can kind of see his fingerprints on, like
Yeah.
like a lot of the shrinky fights, and like he's fighting in the briefcase, and like the phone goes off and starts playing music, and you're just watching the briefcase flying. I'm like, that feels like Edgar Wright, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
And then the sequel, there's a lot less of that. Like the shrinking is less phenomenal. It's kind of like, he shrinks, he grows, you know. And maybe that's just to do with like, okay, it's like the third movie you're watching a guy shrink down. because he also did it in Civil War, you know. So, but like I kind of want that awe again of this ability, you know. And you know, it looks like with Quantumania, we're dealing with the quantum realm. We're dealing with some really kind of cosmic-y science stuff, which I'm very excited about. You know, like dealing with, it looks like we see variants of Scott.
Oh, yeah.
You know, when
there's
like that one little bit in the trailer where you see him double.
Yeah.
And then the whole army of Ant-Man starts showing up. And it could be because we're dealing with the multiverse. Like, these could be variants of him that are all on the same mission.
Okay.
Probably sent by different Kangs.
Interesting.
You know, like this is just me, you know, just spitballing.
It seems very complicated for a Marvel movie.
Right.
You know, it seems too smart
like
for a Marvel
that.
movie.
I kind of want that kind of, I want to see them trip up over the weirdness a bit, you know, because everything has been very kind of cookie cutter.
Yeah.
You know, quip, joke, hit the bad guy in the face, you know, like I want them to get a little messy and try something. Like I liked Doctor Strange, the Multiverse of Madness, because they took a little shot. They went a little, you know, creepy with it. They went, you know, like you have a zombie Strange giving a rousing speech at the end. I thought that was fun, you know. So I would like them to take more chances like that.
Yeah, I mean, I could see
and Jonathan
that.
Majors as your bad guy, like you can't go wrong.
That's true.
I mean,
Yeah,
he's
He's awesome.
awesome.
He's really good in whatever he comes out in. Yeah, for sure. So I'll see what you guys say, and then we'll go from there. Just like,
I'll apologize for it when it's terrible.
It's terrible. Yeah, just like the new Indiana Jones is coming out. I'm really nervous about what's happening.
Nervous is a good way to put it.
Yeah, I'm really nervous about it because I've heard things that I'm just like, are you kidding me? You know, so.
But I like James Mangold is the director, I believe, and he's fantastic.
Yeah.
Yes, but you know,
Logan.
But the thing with that is that you can get great directors attached to especially anything owned by Disney, right? Just
True.
Marvel, right?
Right.
You can get whoever. You can get Quentin Tarantino attached to it, or whoever, right? And you're like, oh my god,
like,
that'd be great, but it's not their movie.
Did Mangold write
You know?
the movie though?
I believe he did. I think
He did?
Yeah,
Okay.
I have to look it up. If someone
Okay.
can look it up, but
I mean,
he definitely had a hand in it. Well, and even like Spielberg came out about Crystal Skull, going like, I wasn't really into it.
Right.
Like he didn't like the script,
of course not.
but it was
yeah.
like part of the deal with Lucas. Was like Lucas got to write the script he wanted to write, and he wanted to do spacey Crystal Skull stuff. And
So, how about we go to space with Indiana Jones?
and
well,
Spielberg
George,
was kind of like,
the thing is,
and that took him like, what was it, 13 years of rewrites to finally make that one, and it was like,
should have done another
it was
13.
so much
Should've done another
compromises. I don't know. I think Spielberg was just like, let's fucking do it. I'm 70 years old. I don't want to keep, you know.
Yeah. So yeah, I think properties owned by Disney now. It's the writers aren't. It's not 100% their movie unless it's Love and Thunder, which probably should have a little more oversight on. You know. But we'll see how it. We'll see. How
I
it
still
goes.
love Gore in that movie though.
No,
Christian Bale was.
Gore did a great. He's
he's great.
job.
Yeah, Christian Bale.
The rest of the movie.
Christian Bale, he goes in.
That's the main reason why I went to that movie.
Yeah.
Because otherwise I wasn't going to see it because
He was in a whole different movie.
Well, well, that's Christian Bale. He's
He was
just
like, oh, I get to scare children. I'm in.
Yeah.
You could be like, Christian, this is a commercial for Oreos, and he just it's a Oscar-worthy performance. Yeah.
Although I do wish they gave him the actual Gore look where he doesn't have a nose and it's just
That would have been tight.
He would have been more scary to me, but
yeah,
probably would have looked a little more like Voldemort. That's why they kind of avoided it.
To me,
it's a tough look because it's because you got like the quietly kind of like tentacle thing and the no, so it's like it is aspects you've seen in other things. Like it's a little Davy Jones. It's a little
true.
You know,
it's a little Voldemortish.
But with Christian Bale behind it, I think he would have pushed that further into a great performance. So,
or I mean, that's the problem with these. We've heard about these Marvel films is how bad. Like they don't have enough time for CGI. So would you rather see like a half-assed version?
I mean,
of that?
that's true.
Yeah.
But sometimes, I mean, I wear glasses. My eyes aren't that great. I don't pick up on things. People are like,
soft focus,
I'm like,
baby.
all right, guys, I see what's wrong there, but whatever. But I think though the Gore we got, he looked more like Danny DeVito's Penguin to me, with the bile coming out of his mouth.
Yeah.
If he had a long nose, I'd be like, oh, that's a penguin. It was a skinny
Played
penguin.
by Batman. It's weird. Yeah.
But started to jump back to Ant-Man real quick. The girl who plays his his older daughter.
Yes.
I think she would be a great older version of Ellie for season 2 of Last of Us.
Ooh, that would be good.
Pull,
Because we were saying Florence Pugh would be a
like Reddit
Ellie.
and everywhere has been like Florence Pugh as Abby for the other person. But then if we had to recast because the girl who plays Ellie now is maybe too young, and if they really want to speed on to the next season,
or they might take a break.
I mean, that's the thing. Yeah. I'm thinking they could do that because it's HBO.
They can do whatever they want.
They can do whatever they want, but like I think
still waiting for Watchmen season 2.
I don't think that's coming.
I don't think it's coming.
But but if they really wanted to spit it out just to bank on the excitement about it, I think she would be the perfect choice for an older Ellie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that it's interesting because I didn't know this until just recently. So HBO passed on Walking Dead, and I'm sure whatever executive made that decision probably got fired.
Oh yeah.
So it seems that they're
this is rebuttal,
right? So and that show, I mean, Walking Dead was already the earlier season, especially was already really amazing on AMC just in general, what they got away with. But can you imagine if it was on HBO?
Yeah.
Wow. So I think that when Last of Us came out, they definitely jumped on it because it's like, okay, this could be our version of Walking Dead. Not as long, but definitely we could, or they could, do spin-offs or whatever.
HBO is amazing with miniseries. Like, you get the oh my god, Band of Brothers,
unless it's Velma.
I haven't seen it yet, but I've heard bad things.
The thing with Velma, and just to jump on that real quick, is like it's Scooby-Doo. If you wait 10 minutes, there's another version of it.
Yeah, that's true.
Exactly.
Scooby-Doo is one of those properties that just keeps reinventing and reinventing. And like, okay, they're doing this Velma side story, but it's like you just give it a minute, you'll get the Scrappy Doo that you want. It's like, just wait a bit.
Yeah. But yeah, so they I think that they're definitely taking an opportunity to make their own version of quote unquote of Walking Dead.
Do you think there's still a want for a zombie show at this point? Because I mean, I feel like they're kind of maybe a few years too late.
Well, that's why I think they're not.
Which surprises me because there hasn't been. We're getting a Last of Us TV show, movie, or whatever, which should have happened 10 years ago, maybe 5 years ago.
And I think we were talking last episode about all the different Walking Dead spin-offs.
Yes.
They're on their
3 of them.
Fifth spin-off show now or something.
And they're doing 3. Yeah. So it's
gonna be the thing here though, I would say this is probably why this works better now, even so than earlier on when Walking Dead was at its top tier. Is we're not following an ensemble. It's just going to be him and the girl, and they'll meet people along the way, but they're not going to stay long. And obviously, this is a shorter season, and the next one won't be long either. And I know Naughty Dog is working possibly on a third game. Mm-hmm. If HBO wanted to chase that down the line, they would be able to. But the fact that they're not making 24 episode seasons and
it makes a big
doing all that
difference,
bull crap of like, it's a mid-season
they got to
break,
stretch that tap
and then we're gonna
can.
So I think since we're not gonna get all that, we're gonna get it all nice tight story. I think people will be excited and it'll not lose its momentum. And I'm that's why I think it's not bad that it's not coming. I mean that it's happening now because it's a refreshing thing to see.
Right.
Where it's like, I get is this person gonna die? Is this person gonna die? It's like no, it's about. We're following this story. Mm-hmm. It's a personal one for Joel. It's a personal one for Ellie that we're gonna grow to like her more as her character grows attached to Joel. So it's like, I think it's a different type of zombie story.
Yes, I agree.
I think that's good. That's good.
Yeah, no, I think is there a need for another zombie show? Probably not, because Walking Dead has sucked the air out of it so much, and then we had like a bunch of like you said the spin-offs, and we had like a bunch of rip-offs too, like I think it was like Black World War Z, or not, or
there's
Z Apocalypse, Z Nation,
that's the one I was thinking.
Which is like, okay, then there was I think it was a Black Sunday, Black Monday, something like that.
Oh right, yeah.
On Netflix, which had a really it was a really crazy opening, but then apparently it really lost steam the rest of the.
Even like the new Resident Evil show.
Oh yeah.
Got,
I don't know what that was. That was just garbage.
If Z Nation is the one I'm thinking of, because I was testing it out. I was watching the first episode, and there was a zombie fetus that was attacking people, and I was like,
I love it.
all right, you know what? I might be on board for this. And I didn't continue too far, but I heard there's like different kind of zombies too down the line. So I was like, this might be more fun because it's just like playing, like, because there was like soldiers guarding a nuclear reactor. And so there's these zombies that are radiated. I was like, that's
okay.
cool.
Interesting,
That's,
yeah.
that's
Interesting.
They're having a little bit more. It's more
Yeah.
like the 50s B movie.
Yeah,
kind of fun with
Fallout
it.
Yeah.
type
Yeah.
of, you know.
Well, again, the problem I have with
weirdness.
that show is that they're fast running zombies. I was like,
Yeah.
nope, I'm out. I was
No,
like,
I
can't.
gotcha.
I hate fast. I mean, I excused it for 28 days later because
Well, if they're getting their protein, they're just eating those people.
Right.
Like, nom, nom, nom.
yeah,
You
that's
see
why
them
they're so
all like
fast.
eating
yeah.
bananas
Yeah.
to keep their joints limbo.
Welcome to the
They're
Z
just-
Gym.
yeah,
Where we're
they're just pumping. They got the gallon of
Potassium.
water they're drinking with the backwards back.
You got protein,
It's
bro?
like
I got
CrossFit.
protein, bro.
They got the CrossFit.
Their jaws are falling off and shit. Yeah, no, I excuse it for like 28 days later where they're infected humans
Right.
that
Because they never
that tire that can
Yeah.
be killed, that starve to death eventually. But yeah, if you're dead, you can't rise up and all of a sudden you're running 100 meters in 8 seconds. Come on.
I did hear they're making a third 28 days later,
Are
28
they?
weeks, 20. I think there's 28 months.
It's 28
gonna
days,
be-
Well, I heard-
28 weeks.
I heard the director, he was just like, I do have an idea for 28 months later if it came into play, but I'm
No.
not. He wasn't.
it wasn't
saying-
definite.
Yeah, it wasn't
Okay,
definite.
I would love
Those
it.
are two really good movies, though.
Yeah.
Really good movies. Even sequel stands up on its own pretty well. Yeah, I mean, it's really dumb how the infection respreads, but whatever. That's
But
it.
I-
But that
I
that makes
kinda love
sense how
that.
it
Yeah,
did.
yeah.
But it did make sense.
I mean,
It's like
humans
this one
are
person
humans are
are
stupid.
really stupid, really
So-
stupid. So yeah, I got it. Yeah. Do you have anything else on your list there, Chad?
Oh, I was just gonna briefly bring up me and Watson. We got proton
Yeah.
packs
Yes.
from Hasbro.
Yes, and we've been waiting to.
Don't be jealous.
Yeah, I'm a little jealous. I'm a little jelly. I might break in one of your homes and take it. That's all right. But we've been waiting to talk about this specifically for the
Yeah,
podcast. So go ahead and tell us what you guys got.
Yeah. Watson has a bit more than I do. I just have the pack from Hasbro, which was like a Kickstarter they did in 2021.
Yeah. So this is Kicks. Okay. So I was a little confused. So Hasbro did its own Kickstarter.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
they have their own version, which is the HasLab, which was
Yeah.
for
Oh.
larger products that probably would never see retail, right?
Yeah.
So the first one they did was Jabba's barge for Star Wars,
Uh-huh.
and so it was a thing of like, hey, if you're interested, you can back this item. We're not going to produce it unless
Was
it
it
hits
to
a certain
scale?
goal.
yeah.
It wasn't. No, it was for the what they're calling the vintage collection, or the 3.35 inch figures, like the old
Yeah.
school figures. So it was in scale with that,
Wow.
right? And they did the Razorback from Mandalorian as well.
Oh, nice.
And then they've been slowly, and they did a few Transformers
Mhm.
things, and they've had things not work out. They
Yeah.
famously, the first one was they had a life-size Cookie Monster
Oh,
that they were going to
Oh,
put
God,
out,
That sounds
and
terrifying.
it did not get backed.
That sounds
And they were like,
terrifying.
fine, didn't happen. Most recently,
It's such a good idea.
they
to
did.
to kickstart their stuff.
Yeah, they did the double-bladed lightsaber from
Phantom Menace?
No, it was the Reva one from
Oh,
Obi-Wan.
Oh,
Oh,
from
sweet.
Obi-Wan.
They put that out there, and they're like, if anyone wants to back it, because your
Nope.
favorite character, Reva.
Oh yeah, Reva. Everybody loves
They
Reva.
were
That's
pushing
why.
her so
Yeah.
hard, and people were
Yeah.
like, "Don't push her on me. I
Yeah.
don't want it."
Starring in her own show, Obi-Wan.
Right, exactly. You know, it's like they were really expecting people to latch on to this
Yeah.
character. Like, we
Right.
got this new, apprentice of Darth Vader.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
everyone's like, no, thank you. So that didn't get backed. So last year was the first Ghostbusters, because they got the Ghostbusters license a
Yep.
few years ago with like Afterlife came out. And so
Yeah.
they put out figures and stuff of the original guys, and they put out the wand, the neutron wand.
Mm-hmm.
So they put that out, and that went to retail. But it just happened to happen like right when 2020, middle of the year. And so, everything shut down.
Yeah.
Shipping was terrible. So you were picking these things at like half price at like GameStop because no one was buying them,
Wow.
Which I regret. I was like, oh, I'll wait because I was
Right.
like, maybe one comes with the pack, but it didn't, and I was
Right.
like,
Well,
I
that
should
was
have
so
bought it.
crazy. It doesn't.
At first I wasn't going to buy it because it didn't come with a pack. I was like, well, I'm going to spend $100 for
Yeah.
this.
But it did
thing
make
that-
all the sounds and everything
yeah,
alone
and it's
with
great.
the
And
wand.
I ended up, I did find one real cheap, and I was like, all right, I'll pick one up. But yet again, it was like GameStop. So, because no one was buying it at that point. Everyone was scared that they, yet again, they thought it was going to be an apocalypse,
Right.
and everyone was saving their money when they
Yeah.
could. And then so last year they announced, it was about a year ago, they announced the proton pack, and I think they wanted something like 7,000 backers. It was a higher price. It was $400, which in the Ghostbusters proton pack world of people building their own, if you go to Etsy or anything like that and try to build your own pack, it can cost you up to about $2,000.
Right, I've seen that.
And they're heavy. This was something that was, it's mass produced in a way, but it's still like metal parts on it. It's got all the lights, sounds. I think it's about 15 pounds, I would say. Like, it's not that heavy.
I thought it was a little bit 10 or less.
Yeah.
It felt
I couldn't believe it. I thought it looks very heavy.
No,
it looks heavy.
It looks solid metal.
They really did a great job with it, and it's very,
awesome.
very...
So what is it? Is it plastic? It's like hard
it's
plastic?
parts.
Yeah. It's, I think the screws and stuff are the only thing that are metal, really.
The ion wand, and I'm getting a real nerdy here, but the clipper fixture is actually aluminum as well. So there's some real metal bits. There's a lot of plastic, but
oh, nice.
But it
looks solid.
It is.
No,
and
very
they
solid,
wanted, like I said, they wanted like 7,000 backers. I think they ended up getting like 21,000 people backing this thing. Yeah. So 21,000 units went out. Which it blew their expectations, which is great. And and so everyone can't wait for the next one. Everyone's already assuming it's going to be the trap or something like that.
Oh yeah. Well, I think you could already buy a trap somewhere. I forget.
Yeah. There's the costume ones.
Yeah,
So who knows?
We'll
but it took about a year to get, and God, this thing is awesome, and they are really. Like, it's 1-to-1 accurate with
Spengler's
with the proton pack from Afterlife.
Yes.
Oh, nice.
But they know that nerds like us like to mod things, and they've made it very consumer friendly. So you can take it apart.
Really?
You can pull screws out. There's open areas in the inside the pack to put, like, if you want smoke effects.
No
if
way.
you want, you could put a smoke. They have a switch on there that does nothing. It's just an empty switch that if you want to wire something to,
oh, no shit.
you can do a lot of customization with this thing.
No way.
The original movie packs were on these Vietnam Alice frames. The L1 Alice frame, right?
I use those.
There you go. So you know it.
Yeah. So it's even got the legitimate straps that we use.
Yeah.
We call them rucksacks.
Right. Yeah. So the prototype that came doesn't come with that. It doesn't come with the Alice frame, but they give you all the mounting hardware. They give you points on there, so you can add that if you want to.
So you just buy it separately. Now it's sold on Amazon, I think. Too.
Yeah, I think that. Yeah,
you can pick up any military hardware store too.
I would like. I went to the military outlet store or something out here, and I was just like, "Do you happen to have a L1 pack?" They're like, "No, we're sold out." A lot of nerds.
All the nerds came.
Like, they looked at me. They're like, "You're not looking for any military stuff."
All the nerds came up.
Yeah, exactly. So
that's fucking great. I love it.
Yeah. So I mean, and it's a beautiful piece. It's great. It's I won't lie. I got home from work one night and it was late, and I was like, I'm gonna put my pack together, and I did. And ran around the house late at night. My wife came out and going like, "You're waking up the kid. Can you just stop running around and trying to blast ghosts?" I was like, "Okay,
fine."
Yeah. No. When I unpacked mine and I put it on, I was just like doing regular stuff around the house. I'm like, oh, you got to put clothes in the thing, but I just left it on like because. But once I get
that's great.
That'll be another story when I get the wand.
It is funny because like it clips, the wand clips on perfectly. It's got the little clip and everything, but trying to reclip, it's a struggle.
Oh yeah,
because you're just like, this is a lot harder than it looks in the movies.
Well, when I had the cheap toy version that came with the costume as a kid,
yeah,
I had the same problem. I couldn't.
Sure.
I was like, "Where is the
right?"
Well, I have one for the Halloween party that I had here, and I got that from Spirit Halloween, and it's still it's a little solid.
It's a really good.
No, it still looks great.
The only problem with it is that there's like a piece, like a peg that sticks out of the side of the wand that goes into the pack, and it's just a hole that goes into a peg that goes in a hole.
Yeah.
So it kept falling out.
Right.
So it's just like it was so annoying. I'd be walking around the party and it would just fall out. And so
you
now
the V clip.
Exactly. A V clip, or I was thinking of maybe just like putting like tape in or like gluing like some Velcro onto it and just have
or like
it
magnets or something.
to have it be able to, because I want to mount it in my office.
Yeah.
But I didn't know about this Hasbro thing until you guys started mentioning it. Like, oh, we're gonna get our proton bags. Like, what are you guys talking about? And then I didn't know that they had their own Kickstarter type of.
Yeah.
Like, great. What a great idea.
It's been. I mean, they did a full size, like a giant Galactus figure and Sentinel figure.
Yeah.
Trying to think what else they've done, but they've done some great stuff through it. Like G.I. Joe stuff. So
yeah.
What's it called? Hasbro
HasLab.
HasLab. Okay.
Like I don't know if you have to have the Hasbro app, Hasbro Pulse app or something to get to HasLab, or at least an account with Hasbro.
Yeah, I think you might have to start an account with them.
Which is free, obviously.
It's free, yeah. So, but it's a cool thing. Just and they I don't know if they have anything up there right now.
Not that I saw.
Doesn't look like. I'm looking at it now. It doesn't. Active Projects.
They'll probably announce something soon.
Yeah.
But.
Oh, that's sad. They tried to put out the Rancor and it failed.
Oh, the Rancor failed terribly.
Yeah,
that was a big
sucks.
thing because, so the cool thing about it is the stretch goals. So after they hit a certain amount of sales, they're like, okay, if for an additional 1,000 people, we'll do these stretch goals.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people signed up just based on what they get with the stretch goals, right?
Yeah.
And with the Rancor, I think people wanted the Rancor. Number one, the price was really high. I believe it was like $250 for the Rancor.
I didn't keep track of it too much, but I know it was up there.
It was up there, and then the stretch goals that came out were like, hey, here's a little bag of bones and a cardboard background, and people were like, what is this? Like they're cheaping out.
Yeah.
And even like I think a lot of people would have, if the Rancor went out into shelves, they would have picked it up. And it could have been $100 or $150 figure, and people would have still picked it up. But for $200, and then you're kind of, the stretch goals were not great. I think a lot of people are like, well, this is Hasbro trying to flex their muscle, being like, look, where else are you going to get a Rancor from? And,
Yeah.
And I think it was a little bit of like pushback from the fans of like, hey, you're overcharging us for something, and like you gotta produce something. So like, yeah, I think the Rancor and the lightsaber. I mean, the both Star Wars Kickstarter HasLab projects have failed. So we'll see what I wonder what they do next.
What stretch goal I would have liked for the proton pack is some freaking batteries. So I wouldn't have to go to the store.
Right?
Yeah,
but
I
did
middle
enjoy
of the night to find some D cells, which is like.
But I did enjoy the marshmallow slime they gave you to hook onto the pack.
Did you? I haven't
attempted it yet, but I took them out just to look at it. I was like, okay, they're like this plastic,
they're cute,
But then they give you the little marshmallow men from Afterlife to put on
which
there
are really
as well.
cool.
Yeah,
and
cool.
I don't know if anyone got. So one of the original stretch goals was if you were already a HasLab Premier member or something, and you ordered the pack with it was so like in the first like 24 hours or something.
Oh, really?
You got like the marshmallow goo, but it was slime. It was like green.
Oh yeah, I heard about that.
I saw that.
I haven't seen anyone get that yet. I haven't seen it.
I heard that was being shipped separately from the pack though.
Oh, okay.
From what
now,
I heard.
is it their add-ons to the pack? You can add them on
So
to?
they're
That's
just
pretty
like
dope.
little add-ons, so it looks
Yeah.
like you've been slimed. Or
Yeah.
something,
Oh, that's
which
cool.
I thought the slime looked really cool. I'd
Yeah.
rather have gone that than the marshmallow. But
I would have preferred if it was the slime from Ghostbusters 2.
the pink.
They do give you the stickers to make it look like a ghost.
Yes, they do. Yeah,
That's
and-
cool.
Well, and some people have been complaining because I mean, like the real like proton pack enthusiasts, I'm gonna call them that. Know that so the ribbon that's on there, the wired ribbon that's running to the pack,
Yeah, I'm looking
is
at
the
it now.
Ghostbusters 2 ribbon, not the Ghostbusters 84 ribbon. So
Oh, yeah.
people are like, oh, I'm gonna have to mod that.
Those stupid idiots.
Well,
Yeah.
and that ribbon is, from what I heard, extremely hard to find.
Yeah,
Like,
sure, I
track
bet.
down that 84 ribbon. But the cool thing about this pack is if you open up the cyclotron like at the bottom,
Oh yeah.
Yeah, right. I'm
there's
looking
two
at it.
switches, and one of them actually does all the sound effects from the 84 movie.
Yeah, you can.
Oh,
It's
no
classic
way.
mode, and then there's
classic
afterlife
and
mode.
regular. So you can mod it, and the stickers all look like the original stickers.
Yeah,
so
that's
it's like
awesome.
you can potentially make it the 84 pack if you wanted.
Yeah.
You know.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
This is currently on the. This is currently on the.
Oh.
yeah. So what we're
Yeah.
looking at is it's a Power Rangers Lightning collection, the Red Ranger and the Mighty Morphin Lord Dracon collectible, which is still I guess still Tommy.
Yeah.
So a friend of ours is a huge Power Rangers fan. Don't show
Yeah.
him that; he'll buy it.
Well, and I hate to be morbid, but anything with
His
with
face on it.
his
yeah.
face went up in value.
Oh,
A
like
lot.
crazy.
I heard about that.
You know,
Yeah,
it was
I'm
kind of
really
like when
sad.
Carrie Fisher died. Like
Yeah.
all her Leia
Yeah.
stuff went up.
Yeah.
I got a Green Ranger for our friend Dan.
Yeah.
And it still hasn't come in because it's from Entertainment Earth, and
Oh,
they
boy.
Really.
I bought it like for his birthday maybe 2 years ago during the
Happy
pandemic
birthday,
or something.
Dan.
It's like, sorry, Dan. It's supposedly it was supposed to come out this year. I was like,
God,
or no, it's been out,
Yeah.
and I could probably just cancel this and go pick it up
somewhere else.
But
Yeah,
we'll
no,
see.
I ordered
Frank and
years ago. I
Sons.
ordered a Boba Fett bus from Sideshow.
Yeah.
and it took it was a year and a half later, and I still hadn't gotten it.
Oh.
I just ended up canceling the.
Yeah, I
I
should
know.
probably do it.
I have a Mezco '89 Batman.
Oh man.
Ordered it. Let's say I ordered that in the beginning, like January of 2020. Still waiting. Still
Really?
waiting, yeah. Mezco is kind of notorious with their pre-orders.
Oh
So
my
they'll
God.
put stuff out. You go like, all right, looks great. Order it, and it's like you have no idea when they're going to ship
Yeah.
it out.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it has to do with likeness rights with Keaton, but
That could be it.
you know,
Possible.
I've gotten 2 other. I got the.
Or it could be WB with
yeah, but
the rights.
It's weird because like Beast Kingdom just put out their 1/9 scale Keaton
Oh, really?
figure and Nicholson Joker, which look amazing.
Mm.
So I got those. SH Figure Arts had a 89 Keaton come out same year, 2020. Picked that up, no problem.
Wow.
Mezco even did a 78 version of Christopher Reeve Superman,
Oh wow.
which looked amazing. So I ordered that after I ordered the Keaton one. I got that like 6 months after I ordered it. So I don't know why this one figure, and they keep showing it. They like bring it out, the prototype of it, to every like Comic-Con. They're like, see, it's here. And we're like, I ordered this thing so long ago. Just I want it in my hands.
What's it? Mezco '89 Batman?
Yeah.
No way.
It's gorgeous. It looks beautiful. It's a 1/12 scale, so like 6-inch figure. And Mezco are famous because they do a lot of cloth goods, right? So all their figures are covered in cloth and super articulated and just beautiful head sculpts. Like,
Oh,
yeah.
yes.
So
I
it
love
looks
it,
kind
yeah.
of like a sideshow collectible,
Right. Yeah,
but
see
a
it.
smaller scale.
Would
Yeah.
I would hope they would do one of Christopher Reeve from now. I know it's the lesser liked of his movies. I mean, number 1 and 2 obviously are great, but 3
Oh,
not good.
the
But my
dark-
favorite is
dark
the dark.
version?
Oh, I love
It's
that's like
great.
best part of that movie because I love it when he fights his Clark
Yeah.
Kent version of himself. I
would
was like,
love
that's
that.
a Bizarro. That's our
It is.
Bizarro.
Right.
That
It
was
is a
been-
Bizarro.
Even the coloring of it's more saturated.
and he had kind of like a
colors and little
beard
stubble. Yeah.
stubble.
Yes,
Oh,
yes.
it was great.
I would
Yeah,
love
those are good.
that. Yeah. That I mean, but yet again, it's like you're dealing with like a very small amount of people that you pick
No,
that
I
up
know,
like
yeah.
that.
Exactly. Wow. So, I mean, do you guys have anything else you want to put out there?
That's all I got for today.
Yeah,
but,
yeah, no.
you know,
No.
we could wrap. Well, we're obviously we're working on the. I mean, whenever this is posted,
Yes.
we might not have our Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter up yet, but we'll be sure to include that to you next go round. For now, though, enjoy our 2 episodes,
Yes.
and we'll have more to come. Cool. All right. Well, I guess that'll be it for Enter the Nerdom. Thanks for joining us. See you next time.
See you later, guys. Bye,
Later.
everybody.
Hey.